Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of Scream City? Never mind, I think I found it.
Happy October, Clown Chasers. Welcome back to a new episode of ScreamCity. I'm your host, Jessica.
And I'm Monica. And today we're talking about the 2016 film Terrifier. I'm obsessed with this movie.
Me too.
And I think you can say the same. We both genuinely are huge fans of this movie. Up and down, beginning to end.
Yes. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
Let's kind of dive into a little bit of life before we get into the film a little bit more. Tell me about, your week, what's been going on.
Yeah. Nothing much, honestly. I feel like we had more things going on, like, when we first started the...
I know, now we have nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
But...
No, I went to the wedding. It was super nice.
Yeah.
Super cool. Very spooky. I spoke to the bride.
Marriage
Hi,
is
Jenna.
very spooky.
Huh?
Marriage
Yes,
is very spooky.
for sure. I spoke to the bride, Jenna. By the way, hi. I don't know if you're listening, but I told her, I was like, I love the decorations. There was a bunch of skulls and all of that. It was super cool.
Sweet.
And then besides that, I did register to vote for the first time.
Oh, yay.
It was super
Good.
cool.
I'm proud.
Yeah, I
love that.
I don't know why I thought it was gonna be like a more
Stressful
thing. It was
Yeah.
literally drive through. It was super cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm obsessed.
Yeah,
And then you got told you were going to hell
Oh
on
my
campus.
god, I did get told I was going to hell. It was so funny. So super quick. I was last Friday I went to my school just for a quick appointment with my advisor, and as I was heading out, I wanted to go to the bookstore, okay?
Yeah,
Because
of course.
I'm just a little innocent woman, but I get stopped by this man. And he's like, excuse me,
dun.
dun, already.
Red flag.
Already. It's
Red
like,
flag,
run. And I hear him say, excuse me, ma'am. And I thought he was going to tell me that my shoelaces were untied, because they were. Mm-hmm. And so I turned around. I'm like, yeah. He goes, do you have time for a quick survey? And my dumbass was like, I just looked around. I was like, sure. And then I knew I fucked up, because as I was walking to the guy that was standing next to him had a cross on his shirt, and I'm like, fuck. And long story short, I got told I was a sinner, I'm going to hell, blah, blah, blah. It was super funny.
They're just literally going around trying to advertise Jesus, which,
Okay, yeah.
good for you. But don't tell me, who I am as a person.
Exactly.
Just so that you can validate your religion.
And then... he was
It
like,
turned into a whole thing.
He was like, I just don't want you to walk away from our conversation thinking that all of this was foolish. And I'm like, are you kidding?
Are you kidding? That's awful.
You don't think I think that you're foolish? I'm literally checking myself out in your sunglasses. I'm like, you think I'm looking at you in your eyes? I'm literally checking myself out in the reflection of your sunglasses.
Sorry, not to stop you, but it's 111.
I love that. 111. Trust your intuition.
Is it trust your intuition?
Trust your intuition.
Which one's protection?
444.
Ah.
Yeah. 444.
Anyway, so I went to Six Flags
Okay.
on Sunday. And last minute, my brother-in-law was like, you want to go into one of the haunted houses? Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what? I went into these last year. Yeah. I survived. It was fine. But my brother-in-law was trying to be funny with me at first. And he was like, just pretend that this is the movie Haunt. And,
That's even worse.
And I was like, that's even worse.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I don't do haunted houses.
Right.
And then the minute we kind of started talking about scary movies, these two guys were like, hey, so have you guys seen this movie? Have you guys seen that movie? And the entire time that we were in line, we were talking about movies. And then my brother-in-law was like,
no.
He was like,
I
hey
feel
guys.
I feel like I know where this is going.
Yes. He's like, hey, do y'all like podcasts?
Oh,
He's
no.
like, I see that y'all like horror. And then they were like, yeah, we listen to podcasts. And I was like, oh my God, I've never been so embarrassed. God. And I was like, no, please. He goes, come on, tell them. He's like, she and her friend have a really cool podcast. And he goes, it's called ScreamCity. Y'all should check it out. And so, of course, they were super sweet. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, what do you guys talk about? And this and that. So I kind of told them. And then I went into him, and my brother-in-law was really trying to advertise for us. And he was like, yeah, they do a scale on how to rate how they rate their scary movies. He goes, you do 2 scales though, right? He's like, go ahead, tell him. And I was like, oh my God.
I love that.
And then right then and there, they pulled up our podcast on Spotify. And they were, I just feel so bad. I got they added me on Snapchat, but I didn't get their names, and I feel so bad.
And shout out to your brother-in-law.
And shout out to my brother-in-law for, putting me out there, because I know I would have not even once been like, hey, I have a podcast.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Now that we have that
out of the way,
let's dig into this absolutely gore of a film. It's just...
I was not kidding when I said that this movie is all gore with, like, no mercy.
No.
This clown knows no such thing.
So, if you haven't watched this movie before, which I wouldn't blame you, it didn't get much, like, promotion.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't,
it is
out there.
Definitely, it did start off as an indie film with low production, but nonetheless, still a good watch.
Very much so.
This movie takes place on Halloween night, so we follow two friends, who are going home after a party, and they encounter a clown who becomes obsessed with taunting one of the girls. Monica, do you remember watching it for the first time, and what did you think? Also, go ahead and tell us your favorite scene and kill.
Okay. I want to start off by saying that I am obsessed with this film, and there is a lot that I have to say about this film. But we can finally talk about a film that I actually do remember watching for the first time, mostly because it was actually this year. So this movie came out in 2016, and I feel like I had known about it. Like, I've seen the clown. I've seen Art the Clown and stuff, but I've never actually known where he was from. I'll be honest. I thought he was from, like, American Horror Story.
Okay.
Like, I thought he was from, like, one of those seasons that I just hadn't had a chance to watch. I was very wrong. So, and then I found out a little bit more about him because you're the one that basically kind of introduced me. So I saw that Roku was showing it for free, and so I decided to watch it with Melody one night when she had come back from work. And the only thing I remember, like, thinking while watching this film was this movie does not shy away from gore.
Nope.
And I also remember thinking, Lord, that 2016, 2015 purple filter.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire film. But as far as favorite scene, it's a little basic. I do actually like the opening scene where it cuts from, like, the after the interview from showing on the TV, and it's literally him just getting ready. You know, putting on his face, putting on his costume, grabbing his little accessories.
Just a little girly pop.
Just a little girly pop going out on a night in the town.
Out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really cool. Because I think it's one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I don't know which one. I just kind of like seeing the villain in a horror movie kind of get themselves ready. Of like what is your
what's your routine?
What's your routine? What does your process look like?
Your get ready with me.
Yeah. Right?
They should have had TikTok back then. I mean, shit, I don't even know why I said TikTok. YouTube.
Maybe a little YouTube film.
Yeah,
a little
chat,
YouTube. Okay, guys, so I'm about to get ready. Kill some people.
Yeah.
It's Halloween night. This is what I use. Yeah. So I definitely, I don't know, I liked it. And it was either between that scene or the one that basically comes right after it is where Monica, the interviewer, is interviewing the interviewee, which is the victim at the beginning of the film. And she goes into her dressing room and she starts talking shit about the interviewee and how ugly she is. How messed up her face is. And it's really fucked up. And then she ends up dying. Rightfully so. Because she deserved it.
Pinche Monica.
So I loved it. Pinche Monica.
That's what she gets.
That's what she gets. Yeah. Which I also watched All Hallows Eve, like earlier this week, and I actually really like it. Love it.
Nice.
And the reporter in Terrifier is the babysitter in All Hallows Eve. So she kind of makes a cameo and she kind of makes a comeback for Terrifier, which is really cool.
I love that.
But as far as favorite kill, I will have to say it would have to be the kill that he does to the pizza parlor guys. I like both.
To Steven?
Is it
Steven is the older guy.
The one that he beheads?
Yeah.
Then he basically turns into like
a jack-o'-lantern.
Jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, it's so cool. We don't see that kill happen, but I like the after effect of like him leaving his head on top of the counter and then killing the cook. chopping his hands.
Which, he did not deserve that. He was the most innocent one.
He was.
I mean...
He kind of stayed in his lane. He was literally picking up after his shit.
Shit.
He was cleaning his poop. But yeah, it was very gore. It was very creative, and I loved it a lot. And I think that's the first kill that we see Art do, don't we?
Yeah.
So I really do think so, because I don't think he shows killing
Steven is
anyone
the
before
first.
that. Yeah. And so I feel like, again, that just sets the tone on to show you, like, yeah, this clown is not holding back. Mm-hmm. So he's going to go for it. But enough about me. All and right. How much I love every scene of this movie. What about you?
So funny you mentioned that this is one of the first films that you remember watching, because for the life of me,
oh no,
I cannot remember watching it for the first time.
Oh Lord. Love.
I know, I'm a fake fan. But I know I must have really liked it because, I mean, look at me now. I know I've only ever watched it by myself because, God forbid, I'd show my family this movie, I would probably get disowned.
Right.
But I was struggling so hard to remember when I watched this for the first time, because I think the first time I watched it may have been in between, like, finishing high school and starting college.
Right.
And I don't remember anything from that time. But I did find some tweets that I made, and I will show them to you.
Okay.
Am I proud of them? No. But I'm going to go ahead and read them to you.
So we're exposing Jessica today.
Yes.
I love
Basically,
that.
I'm
I
exposing
love that.
myself.
We're getting comfy. Comfy.
So, July 2019. It's, picture this. It's July 2019.
I love.
Okay? It's pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID?
It's summer.
I miss that
time. There's I think a horror account on Twitter made a poll, and it said, "Hey, bitches, pick someone to rearrange your guts."
Okay.
And the options are Freddy, Jason, Candyman, and Michael.
Candyman.
And you would choose Candyman?
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
Actually, wait, who were the other ones? Freddy,
Jason, Candyman, and Michael. Michael won, by the way.
I was gonna say, yeah, I feel like people are into Michael, which
they ain't wrong. But I commented. I said, first of all, Art the Clown could get it anytime.
Okay. So he wasn't even an option. And you felt the need to go in there and make him an option.
100%.
Okay.
Second one.
Okay.
This was a few days later. Literally a few days later.
Okay.
It's, again, July 2019.
Oh, okay.
This is my own tweet. I said, y'all, I'm about to expose myself, but Art the Clown... No. Art
now
the Clown and Pennywise could both, get it.
Okay. Is that what you wrote, or are you sugarcoating?
It's what I wrote.
Okay.
And then the last one is from... Damn, all of these are in July. So I'm quote tweeting Terrifier 2, the official teaser.
It was supposed to come out in 2020, but it didn't.
And I quote tweeted, Art, I'm free on Saturday night and would like to hang out. Please respond to this and then hang out with me on Saturday night when I am free.
I hate you.
I hate me too. Again, I'm not proud of these. I don't know who I was.
And it's so funny. And I really do think the first one that you said, I think was a lot worse than than the other two.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Enough of that.
Enough of that. Moving on.
My favorite scene. So, for the life of me, I was trying to find this Snapchat video that I took forever ago. Mm-hmm. It's it's the scene where Tara finds Art in the warehouse after wandering around looking for the restroom. Mm-hmm, yeah. And she opens the door and she sees Art and they both freeze. And Art's just it's so funny. But I think that's what 2019 me would have chosen.
Right.
But I think my favorite scene, and I'm only saying this because it's funny, is where Art pops up wearing the cat lady's hair.
Yo.
Hey, when I tell you he's
so
serving.
Funny. Serving.
He's slaying.
He slays.
He looks kind of good in it, too. He looks good in it, too. I'm like, how did you...
No, the fact that this man... No, and I think what people miss maybe about this film is that this film is so funny.
It's very comedic.
It's so comedic. And it has its comedic moments. And I think, that scene died. Yeah. I died. Because I was like, this man did not just put on a full-on wig and lay down and act like a damsel in distress.
More like a full-on scalp.
That's true.
He scalped her.
I was gonna say, I think, he completely scalped that bitch. He said, but good for him. And then that, I don't know if you're gonna mention it, but the scene where Tara and him are basically fighting, like physically fighting each other, and she grabs a board and she like hits his leg, and then he's like, oh my god, and then she's like, get up, and then she's like trying to like knock him back down, or if he gets up or whatever, and he goes, and then he like pulls out a gun and he fucking shoots her in the leg. I died. I was like, this man.
The thing about art,
is that he's artistic.
No, for real. Like, I think
is true to his name.
I think the reason why a lot of people like art, the clown, and maybe this movie in general, is because of the way that David portrays art.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna get into this a little bit more, but he doesn't say a peep throughout the whole movie.
Not one
and
sound.
Still manages to be the funniest character in the movie. Like, how does that happen? You know what I mean?
Because he's so great at what he does, and I love him so much.
I love that.
But that's so funny. But I do agree, though. He did slay.
Yeah. He did slay.
He said, "Per bestie."
Yes.
He said, "Me too."
He can pull that off.
Love.
Favorite kill. The hard one.
There's a lot of good
There's
ones.
a lot.
There's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of deaths, and they're just all so brutal.
Very much so.
As Olivia Rodrigo once said, God, it's brutal out here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to be basic and go with Dawn's.
I don't think Dawn's is basic. I think it's iconic.
Yeah.
First of all.
I think I'm only saying basic because it's like the one that Terrifier is kind of known for, you know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
Because, I mean, come on. It's just, I remember contemplating life after watching this scene.
Yeah.
Because I was just, like, in my mind, I actually don't remember if I had to skip through it because I thought it was so disturbing.
I was going to say, it was
I remember the
gory.
second time watching it, I did skip through it because I was just like, I can't, like, I already know what happens.
Right.
And I know that it's, like, all fake and, all of that.
You can kind of tell it's a prosthetic at one point, but I think it's just the concept that, like...
That it actually happened in the movie, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, was this allowed?
Like, it's one of those scenes that, like, you watch because you're like, I can't stop watching.
Exactly.
But you're like flinching.
In a
you're just like,
You're kind of like in a trance just watching it. It's like you can't stop watching. It's so weird.
And he looks so happy when he's doing it.
Yeah.
He looks so contained.
And, like, listen, as long as he's happy, I'm happy. But, like, we gotta
as long as he's happy.
We gotta work on something,
We're all happy. Anyway, but in moving on. In all seriousness, so Art the Clown was first seen in one of Damon Leone's short films, which is The Ninth Circle from 2008. And then that short film was introduced in one of his other films called All Hallows Eve from 2013. If you haven't watched All Hallows Eve, I recently watched it earlier this week, and I will say it's pretty good, and I think you would like it. I think it's good. I think have you seen it?
I have not.
I think I remember asking you, and I can't remember if you've seen it or not. But I do think you'd like it. So this movie, All Hallows Eve, it's about a girl who's babysitting, and in one of the kids' candy bags, there's a VHS with basically cult-like killings on it, and it's pretty great. The movie was giving Hallmark, like Christmas movie Hallmark, but for horror.
Okay.
So the concept and the storyline are really good. It's just the acting.
I feel that.
The acting is just very 100%. I feel that. Like very like why? You know what I mean?
But also,
I love Hallmark movies.
Yeah, they get a lot of hate, but I'm like, I'll watch them. You know what I mean? Right. Anyway, but All Hallows Eve, that's a different actor who plays Art, right?
Yes. Okay. So in the short film, Art the Clown, he makes an appearance so if you watch All Hallows Eve, you're literally watching the babysitter and the kids watch another film. And so we watch this film as if we're them in a way. So in the short film, in that one, Art the Clown is actually played by Mike, I think it's Gianelli, maybe. Okay. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Which is why he actually looks a little bit more different. So I don't think he has like the bone structures in his face. So he looks like kind of more of a regular guy, but he has the nose.
Okay.
So you can kind of see it, but you can definitely tell that it's not David.
Yeah.
but then he retired from acting.
Oh.
Yeah, so then Art is now played by David Howard Thornton, who is, you know, who we see in the rest of the films as Terrifier and, like, All Hallows Eve. But since you haven't had a chance to watch it, I really do think you should.
I love that.
I think you would love it.
And speaking a little bit about David, I did get to meet him September 2021, actually. It wasn't 2020.
Oh, it was last year.
Yeah, it was, and it was really cool. However, I opened my big fat mouth. I opened my big fat mouth.
Of course.
And I don't remember verbatim what I said, but it was something along the lines of Art the Clown started my thing for clowns. And mind you, I said this to David. And
the guy who plays
the
a clown.
poor man just had a look in his face that was like, get me out of here.
He was like, I don't want her in my line anymore.
All of this is a joke, by the way. My thing for clowns, it's all just a big joke. It's nothing serious.
So, okay.
It just, you know.
It's just fun to make fun of.
It's just fun to make fun of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, he just laughed about it, but he was
like, ha.
Yeah.
Here's your autograph. Bye.
But he was super, super, super sweet, and
he seems like a really cool guy. I was watching a couple of interviews, and I was like, this guy seems so chill. Like he seems like the type to be like, yeah, I love it. Yeah. I was telling Jessica that it sounds like he has like a New York type accent, but he's from Alabama, so I don't know if he just kind of grew up
maybe
majority of his life somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he has a bit of an accent when he says some things, and so does Damien. Yeah. So I don't know, but that's so sweet.
Yeah. But getting into some fun facts about this movie, because there are quite a few.
Searching for things on this film was so much fun. I went through like a rabbit hole. I watched videos and I read articles, and I loved everything that I read. I can go on for hours about what I found out about this film and like behind the scenes stuff. But I think what I love about indie type / low budget films is that they're very fun to watch, but knowing the behind the scenes stuff is even better, because a lot of the like locations that people film at and the things that they use are all real and not just like things that they built to put on a set, if that makes sense. Like the warehouse where they film Jenna Cannell or Cannell, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, Jenna Cannell.
I think it's Cannell.
Who plays Tara. So she had to film the Bye Bye Man at the same time that they were filming the Terrifier. So they had to film all of her parts first. So when they filmed her parts, they did them like at a warehouse or somewhere in like New Jersey, I think he said. But a majority of the rest of the film was filmed in a abandoned hospital that they basically did nothing to. So the bathroom that we see that Tara has to use, yeah, that's real. They said that was all there. They had nothing, they didn't even have to do anything with it of like making it dirty or anything. So I hope my girl didn't actually have to use that bathroom. Yeah. There's like a part where where you can kind of see tires, like an outside of a garage type of place, like kind of towards the end. All of that is real. They didn't have to set any of that up. And the thing that I like found out that I was like, oh my God, which obviously because we see it happen, but the scene where Dawn is hanging upside down, so the kill scene where she gets sawed in half, that is also real. Not obviously where she gets sawed in half.
That
was so real.
That was so real.
It was crazy. But they had to film that scene in 30-second increments. So they would put her upside down. They would film it for 30 seconds, time it, and then be like, okay, flip her back up. And so that she'd have to flip back up. And they did that. Like, I'm sure it was very stressful for them because they had to do it for I don't know how many times, because that scene is like a good, like 2 minutes long, I think. So, one, because it's dangerous for her to be upside down for too long. But two, they had said that they were filming in January in a warehouse with no heat.
Oh, Lord.
So my girl was freezing her titties off for a kill scene. For literally freezing her titties off for a kill scene. Because she's naked. Yeah. Like, she's, you know. And they had said that, you know, obviously the prosthetic that Art has to saw through, it's a prosthetic, but it's a mold of her entire body.
Wow.
And so they had said that they basically have to cover you in this thing that helps the prosthetic come off smoothly. The first time that they did it, she put too much of it on. So then you can see it in the mold, how it looks a little bubbly and like kind of like deformed in a way. So then Damon Leone was like, okay, you have to take some of that off. The second time around, she took too much of it off. Oh, so then she got stuck in the prosthetic that she had to go to the emergency room so that they can take her out of it. And that it took them a good amount of hours to like get her out of it at the ER, and she still went back to like film the rest of it. Wow. She goes, I want to be a part of this because I know that it's going to be like the scene that he's going to be known for. She's like, and I want to be a part of that. And I'm like, girl, I would have been like, listen,
I would have quit the first
I'd have been like, listen, I want to be part of this so bad, but that so I was like, that's insane.
Props to her.
Seriously. And I think there was an interview that I was watching with David where he was like, Catherine, that girl, yeah, she's the real deal. Like, she's really good at what she does. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Good for her.
There's an interview where she's, I think, on a podcast, and she kind of talks about that scene. I didn't watch it, but it's on YouTube, so. Okay.
And the scene, you know the scene where Dawn meets him in the pizza parlor?
Yeah, yeah.
And she boops him on the nose, and it kind of foreshadows in a way because he boops her on the nose when she's upside down. And
I love that.
And he also, like, once he's already killed her, like, takes a little selfie with her.
He's like,
boop. Is an Instagram girly.
One thing about him, he said, my followers are never gonna miss what I'm doing.
He needs a Be Real. I don't even have Be Real, but
he needs it for real.
I feel like Art would.
I think he would slay social media.
100%.
I think.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
He is such a comedic genius. Oh my god, the little jazz hands.
His little jazz hands with the smile.
Him.
I love him so much.
And the scene where Dawn is,
getting sawed in half.
sawed in half. They actually used intestines for that scene.
I think I did see that. They used human intestines.
In fact, it was her intestines.
They went to a hospital. They were like, "Are y'all done with that?
Yeah.
Can I have that?"
No, it was pig intestines stuffed with fat, stuffed into them.
It's disgusting. It's very good. I think I did see something like that.
But really cool.
You know how we were talking about how great David is good at acting?
Yeah.
With as Art the Clown. You know, he was actually a mime.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, he
is so smooth.
I was gonna say he's actually he has mime experience, which I think he plays. I think does really well for him to play a psychotic psychopath, non-talking psychopath. Because
we have almost all of them, almost all of the villains in almost every horror movie don't talk. There's Leatherface, Michael.
That's true. All of the
But look at them.
Jason.
Look at them and then compare them to Art, though. Who's funny? Like, it's not even funnier. Who's the funniest?
That's true. I love it.
Who has character?
I think what like Leatherface and like Michael Myers and I think they're unintentionally funny because they're just like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna catch you eventually and you're gonna die.
Yeah.
But Art is like, I'm gonna get you, but I'm gonna make it fun.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have fun. It's literally a what's the saying? Cat and mouse chase type of thing. Yeah. Where he's gonna play with his food before he eats it.
100%.
Which he actually isn't he a cannibal because he eats her face.
Yeah, Victoria's. It's
gross. But weird. So it's I love it. But yeah,
I love that.
I love it.
And his makeup takes 3 hours to do.
3 hours.
And the thing, so kind of going back to my experience meeting him.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a photo op with him so bad in costume, but if I'm not mistaken, he was only doing that on Saturday, but I met him on Sunday. I still regret not taking one, but hopefully we are able to get one next year. The reason why he was only doing it one day, obviously, is because it takes fucking forever.
I was like, 3 hours, that's a good amount.
And honestly, sorry, I didn't get any further info. I don't know if you know this. The lady who was working the convention that told us that it takes forever, which obviously I don't doubt, said that he does it all on his own.
So, yeah. So, I was watching a behind the scenes thing, and something that I noticed was that his makeup is actually done by Damon Leone, who is the creator and the director of not only the movies, but of Art the Clown, himself. So, because he's also a special FX makeup artist.
Oh.
So he does David's makeup each time.
Cool.
And he kind of goes into it a little bit in this other interview that I was watching. So Which I feel like is funny because I feel like we don't see a lot of that in like the horror film or in the film industry in general, where
Right.
like the director is also the makeup artist,
Right. That's
and is
really
also,
cool.
and I think he's also the editor of like the films
Yeah.
and everything. So Damien had said that the reason that it takes so long is because his face is all prosthetics. So he puts on like a prosthetic on his face, so to do like the high cheekbones and like to do kind of like the point of the chin and his nose, obviously. So basically they have to remold his face each time that they want to put him in costume, because when they have to take it off, they basically destroy that prosthetic because they have to take it off into pieces and they have to do it really carefully.
I think I did see something like about that.
Yeah.
And I heard Damien's inspiration for FX makeup was Tom Savini,
I love Tom Savini.
which, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's also been at Texas Primer.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Because he has created a lot of the monsters we know now.
He has.
And he goes to
The
Texas
convention that we
Primer.
also go
Yeah.
to. I saw him last year, or not last year, this year actually. Jeez. But
so maybe there's an opportunity for us to meet him.
I hope he's
next
there
time,
so that I
yeah.
can actually meet him this time.
But shout out to
He's so
them
sweet.
because they're great.
Seriously, we always I will always stand by the people who show out as actors who do this stuff, because I feel like it's a little bit more common in horror movies for them to change who they are completely to be into their character. So go into costume, go into prosthetics, go into like 3-4 hour makeup and things like that. Is that they do these things, they completely change their appearance just to make us, the audience and fans, just happy and to make sure that we get what we can get out of the film and like get a full effect. So, and I think it's truly amazing. So shout out to them.
Starts
everyone.
crying.
It starts crying. I just really want to tell them
Yeah.
that I love them so much.
No, I totally agree. I think it's really cool that there are people who care
Enough
about the
to, like,
audience and not necessarily about how the movie is going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they care more.
Obviously, they care about how the movie is going to do.
Yeah,
It's like they want them
obviously.
to do well.
I think it's a natural concern that if you're creating something, you want it to do well.
Right.
But I think as long as you put in a lot of your focus and effort into actually making your film, and knowing that no matter what the results are, knowing that your work and what you did, you're confident in it, then slowly but surely everything else will fall into play as well. And I think that falls a lot with a lot of these type of films like Terrifier and Trick or Treat too. I know
Right.
Trick or Treat is a little bit bigger than Terrifier, but like I think it didn't start off that way. So yeah.
Right. All right. Well, we're getting a bit toward the tail end of the episode, so I think it's a good time now to play a little Would You Rather? Yeah. So for this film, would you rather, and bear with me because I don't know if I'm wording this correctly.
Okay.
Would you rather have art taunt you for the rest of your life, the way he did with Tara, but only you can see him, but you don't die though. He never kills you.
He just taunts you.
He just taunts you for the rest of your life, and you're the only one who can see him.
Can he hurt me? In the taunting?
He can hurt you.
He can damage you pretty good.
He can damage you pretty good. Or survive an attack from him. So again, you don't die, but you end up like Victoria, disfigured.
I feel like it depends. Because do you want to be just traumatized by him? Well, I feel like you're traumatized by him either way, right?
Either way, yeah.
Because I was like, do you just want like a one and done?
Yeah.
Like, I survived it, I can tell you. But this girl, like, has no eyes, right?
Yeah, no.
No, she has no eyes. Like, her face is gone. I would like to say that I would rather just be taunted by him because I'm like, whatever. Like, right? And maybe expect it. And then you learn to live with it, if that makes sense. Because then at some point you're like,
I wonder what he's going to do today.
yeah. Like, you look forward to seeing him, right? He makes you go to Lulu.
I think I would rather...
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think I would choose?
I think you would rather be taunted by him because at least you get to see him each time. But you don't know what he's going to do. Like, okay, only we can see him, but then what if it, like, there's just so many aspects to think about, right? So, like, only we can see him and he's taunting us. But what about if one of the way that he taunts us is that he kills people that we know.
No.
No?
No.
No one dies in this scenario? Oh, well, then I'd rather just get taunted.
Okay.
Because at least... Because he can just become one of my demons that I have to deal with. You know? Like depression, anxiety, art.
Art. You know.
I think I can deal with him taunting me.
Or maybe he
I
does
think I'll
kill.
be fine.
Or maybe he does kill someone that you love, and then you look like the...
Oh.
Like
no,
the,
no, but that's the thing. Nobody dies in any of these scenarios.
Okay.
You said that.
No, I know I said it, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're like, now I'm changing it.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather get taunted by him.
I
I'd
think
rather
so,
get taunted
too.
by him because I think I like to say that I think I can handle it.
I
think I've
think
been
I
through
can
worse.
change him.
Okay.
I can change him.
I think I can change him.
I
think he can be
Art,
the
this
one.
is not like you.
Stop.
Art, look at me.
Stop killing for me.
Stop killing for me.
I love that. No, because I don't think I could, like, shout out to all of the people who actually survive through, like, very traumatic things. Because...
I feel like we use humor to cope.
That's true, though.
We'll be posting this Would You Rather on Instagram sometime this week. And we want to know what you guys choose.
Yep.
But since we're almost at the end of the episode, let's go ahead and rate the movie.
Yes, let's. Okay, so again, for our horror films, we have 2 scales. We have a scary scale and a satisfactory scale. Just because a movie is scary does not always mean that it's good, and vice versa. For this film, Jess, what are your ratings? 10 out of 10 all around.
Listen, I love this film. I
Same.
find it... I don't want to say comfort film, but it is a kind of a comfort film.
I think I could watch this and be like,
Yeah. It's like, I know what happens. Art is
Yeah.
funny. Like, I whatever. But I will say, scary scale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's definitely more gore than actual scares. I mean, the
I guess
idea...
that's true.
The idea of getting basically harassed by a clown on Halloween night is scary.
Yeah.
But I never found myself like jumping or anything. It was
More so
more of a
uncomfortable to
looking
watch.
away out of like,
Yeah.
this is fucking disturbing. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like I would probably close my eyes because of how gross something would get.
Right.
But I never found myself like closing my eyes because I was scared. You know what I mean?
Right.
Satisfactory scale, I'm giving it an... Here's the thing. Like, I'm going to give it like a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
8.5 to 9 out of 10. I love this movie.
I do
It's comedic, disturbing, gory, you name it. But there's not much to the actual story.
No.
It's just art killing.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I don't mind seeing that. I just wish we had more of a backstory to what or who Art is.
Yeah.
And again, I understand that Terrifier 2 might go a little bit more into that, but we are talking about the first one.
Right.
Or maybe more of a backstory to who the girls are, you know?
I think what people need to go into this, we're not watching these for a plot.
Right.
You don't get a plot out of these movies. You get gore and you get scary. And sometimes that's all people need.
Mhm.
Like some people can watch something and be like, I didn't need all that. I love this film, which I feel like goes for me and I loved it so much. So going into my rating, I rated this film on my scary scale a 8 out of 10. And again, I give that mostly because of the gore and the, like, how literally psychotic this clown is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this clown is just like a maniac, and I love it. And I think something that my brother-in-law talk about from time to time is that there's a difference between horror and terror. And I think this movie, I mean, it's titled The Terrifier.
Yeah.
So I think this movie does really well with terror. It's just not going to give you a full plot. So I
Right.
think the same. I think my satisfactory scale goes on to about like a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Only because, again, these ratings are personal. So I personally enjoyed this film.
Mhm.
I didn't feel the need to know a plot.
Okay.
I am curious as to know what he is.
Right.
Because, like, at the ending of the film, you know, he doesn't actually die
Right.
after being shot like 20,000 times.
Yeah.
And being shot in the head. And, like, he goes through so many things and he still survives everything. So I would like to know what he is. But I think once I know, like, you know how we kind of have, like, Pennywise's backstory on, like, how he started in a circus and, like, whatever, and he's actually an entity. I think knowing that and then knowing the storyline of everything, I think that's really cool. But I think for this, I think the terror part of just him killing and being psycho, I think that's enough for me to be like, I don't want to be 20 feet from this clown. It's terrifying.
I see that.
The Terrifier terrifies me.
I see that. Well, I think that concludes this episode. Again, we want to thank you guys, as always, for listening. We truly appreciate it.
Yes.
And if you liked our episodes, please follow our social media if you're not already. Our handles will be in the description for this episode. And Monica, would you like to tell them about next week's episode?
I would, actually. Thank you. Next week, we will be talking about yet another Halloween favorite and a must-see. Drumroll please. Haunt. I love/hate this film. It is my reason for hating haunted houses.
I like this film. But anyway, we'll unpack all of that in the next episode.
But until then, until we talk about Haunt, happy October. Stay safe and stay spooky.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.